they keep wanting me to use the goat, so...
What is the deal with the goat?
I don't know, it became a thing now. I used it once and now he's a thing. So...
Have you guys named him?
Jeff the goat, Tony named him.
It's just the goat?
Jeff the goat.
Jeff the goat.
And apparently, according to Tony, the goat and I are dating, which I don't care for that joke as much, but...
Welcome to Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone. We're live inside Muscatine Hy-Vee on 2nd Avenue in Muscatine, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, here's Tony Tone.
Woo! Hey, where were you? We were waiting for y'all. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm running late. It's Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone. We are officially 6 minutes late. Ryan, is this a record? We're going to have to update the scoreboard because this is like the second time that this show has ever started late. Welcome to a new week, Monday, the 11th of February. Unfortunately, if you were planning on spring getting here sooner than later, I hope you bet the later because, wow, just don't look at the forecast for the next 2 weeks. I made that mistake the other day. I was like, surely we'll get through another winter snowstorm, but then it's just like the 20th, and then you just keep looking and you're like, oh no. Ryan, come on, man. All right, so let's just keep it there for a second. So we know a couple of things. We know there's snow in the forecast today, maybe some snow early tomorrow. Wednesday seems fine. Thursday, okay, maybe a little overcast on Valentine's Day. Friday, snow's back. Saturday, a balmy 19 degrees, and then maybe a little bit of a break. I remember delivering flowers on Valentine's Day last year here at Hy-Vee, and it was nice out. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong, right? But then I was thinking about something this morning. Has anyone ever looked at what happens if we have a mild February? Like, are there benefits to having more of winter in February? Does this mean that we'll have a lesser chance of tornadoes in the spring? I don't know. But I think about random stuff in the morning. But I was like, you know what? Maybe, first of all, it can only help the bug situation because the last couple of summers it's been super buggy because we never really had a true deep freeze. It was 50 below zero the other day. If I see one gnat in my backyard, I'm already going to have purchased all the bug soother I need. I hope to only have to use it as cologne to continue to smell good because I really think it's going to be a bug last summer. So just pay attention to the weather. We'll see what happens. It's very appropriate that we start talking about the weather because one of our first guests probably has to make the similar call that we talked to Dr. Jerry Reby about last week. Dr. Naomi DeWinter is here with MCC and Charla Schaefer with the Community Foundation. Dr. DeWinter, is it up to you to make the call when snow shows up?
For the Muscatine campus, yes.
Yeah? Oh.
Yes. And I have made friends with all kinds of apps that I didn't even know existed.
Right.
Early in the morning, I'm watching the snowplow cam,
No.
On 61.
Yep.
I'm watching what Jerry Reby is doing. I'm
Sure.
watching the other school closing, talking to the other presidents.
Oh my gosh.
There is something supposed to be coming on Tuesday and Wednesday, right?
Come
the freezing
on.
snow. So actually, we've had to cancel more classes than I ever have, probably in my career.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I never want to have the responsibility of having to make that call because either way, there's people that are excited or there's,
Yeah.
I mean, when it,
Yep.
And if you think about, well, should a college student ever be disappointed? Yes, most of them are paying their own
Right.
way. Like it's like they want to get their education, and nobody wants to be in school. I told Jerry Reby, I said, just keep the kids till the 4th of July.
Yeah.
You probably feel the same way,
Yeah,
right? We're
yeah,
staying 4th
yeah.
of July. That's when we'll be getting out. It's good to see you, by the way.
Thank you.
Proper
Thank you for the
handshake.
invitation.
Charlotte, thanks for
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
Charlotte, do you get to close the office at all at the Community Foundation with the snow or no?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the weather is. We're open, Tony. Absolutely.
That
So we can
communi-
take calls from anybody
That's
that
right.
happens to be staying home that day and take care of them. So it's all good.
I was going to say, I don't mess around at the Community Foundation.
That's absolutely not.
Right? That's like the store. You know, people thought, are you going to be open when it was at 30 or 40 below?
Right.
And I just look at Jim Simmons and I'm like, this guy will be here no matter what. Like, if he's here, there's no excuse for anybody else to not be here.
Yeah.
Like, he would be the guy that's out there jumping or warming up our vehicles. For
If
us.
I ever needed a ride to work, I'd call Jim because he'd get me
Yeah,
there.
he would totally scoop
Yeah.
you.
So
Okay.
speaking of the bugs, though, I did
Yes.
hear that the extreme cold has killed the ash borers.
That's
so,
wonderful.
right?
I
So-
lost 2 trees in my backyard from those stinking ash borers.
Yeah. So they don't like that
Oh.
extreme cold.
That's why I have
Yeah.
something in common with the ash borer. I eat trees and I don't like the cold. That's
Yeah.
great. I'm more concerned about, as I mentioned, the gnats.
Yeah.
They're terrible when you're cutting the grass and you get a face full of gnats. And then the stink bugs, which I just don't
Yeah.
get. They
Yeah.
look prehistoric
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
gross. Okay. Very busy event coming up. MCC Legends in its 2nd year.
Yes.
Correct? So last year we talked about this first annual event. It went over incredibly well.
Yeah.
It was a great opportunity to honor the Howe family and their contributions to Muscatine. So when it came to Dr. DeWinter, was there a nominating process with regards to who was going to be considered for the 2019 MCC Legends event?
Yep. So we have a working team.
Gotcha.
Many of them are alumni of MCC. Charla is included in
I
that
didn't know
that
that.
team. Hey.
Look at that.
And there's actually a very short list of people that we've considered. One of the things we look at is this is the 90th anniversary of Muscatine Community College.
Gotcha.
And so who has contributed to that growth and the stability of, over the years to the college? And we decided on this year on Lucille and Roy Carver Sr. And you may be familiar with Roy's contributions, especially when you think about the industry, Carver Pump,
Absolutely.
and then Bandag.
Yep.
You know, they had huge positive contributions to the community. And because Muscatine Community College is in the community, when the community thrives, the college also thrives. And I think Roy and Lucille really understood the value of education, and they helped us grow and they helped us strengthen many of our programs through their donations and through their ongoing contributions through the Roy J. Carver Charitable Trust.
Charlotte, just when I think that like I'm personally doing my best, or I feel like I don't know if I can give anymore, I think about people like Roy and Lucille, and I mean the fact that they just never stopped giving. I mean it's truly inspirational, and what a great picture of them, by the way.
That's their
I mean,
wedding photo.
Just and
Yeah.
they look fantastic.
Yeah.
When I kind of read through, the Cliff Notes, if you'll have it, I was prepping for this, and I just kept thinking, that's the thought I kept having, is I have no excuse to not do as much as I can. I mean, these guys they continue to have a lasting impact, and they've, just been so great for Muscatine. Charlotte, with the Community Foundation, I mean, you get to work with a lot of folks that are doing a lot of good, but when you think about Roy Sr. and Lucille, I mean, it's just such a great story, isn't it? And just like a great Muscatine feel-good story that's happy ending continues every single day. They're impacting lives, right?
They very easily could have focused on their business and grown
Correct.
their business and not focused on giving back to Muscatine and giving back to the children of Muscatine. And the interesting thing is, Naomi was just touching on, they lived their life a certain way, and then they ensured once they were gone that their legacy of it's quite a testament to the character that they both had.
And when you talk about having a strong community, for sure, MCC, Dr. DeWinter has been there for so many years, and so many success stories from people that have gone to MCC, and then we love the stories when people stay in town and get those jobs, and then eventually kind of work their way into a position where they can, be a good steward for MCC. I can't even think of a Muscatine without MCC, right?
Yeah.
It's such a synonymous thought, and we need to make sure that we keep encouraging our young people whatever their interests are, there's so many opportunities at MCC, you know, for them to find a path in life. And I think that's what's unique about Muscatine is it's one thing to have a great outlet like MCC, but then to be able to connect these students to jobs right out of school or internships while they're still in school, because we have all this great industry in town. You're in such a great, minus the having to cancel class, you have one of the best jobs in Muscatine.
I agree.
Sure,
I agree.
right? I mean, maybe you enjoy getting up and checking out the snowplow cameras, but I see those and I'm like, oh, my wife, my poor wife's gonna have to stay home again. And by the way, I think we could do this show from my house next time there's a snow day. My wife was kind of alluding to that, so maybe we'll pull that off. All right, so MCC Legends event. People were thinking I didn't even mention the date. We did have it on the screen. It is Thursday, February 21st at the Merrill Hotel and Conference Center. So it's a great opportunity to honor the carvers, but then there's also a lot of food and a great time to be had. So, Dr. DeWinter, if we look at this event, 6 to 9, tickets are $65. All the information is online. What can folks expect when they show up at the Merrill on Thursday the 21st at 6 o'clock?
So we want to do a few things with this event. First, highlight the culinary options that are available in Muscatine, and also highlight our new culinary program. So our academy students, our culinary academy students, will be there to assist the chefs through interviews with the Carver sons, Marty Carver and Roy Carver. We learned that Lucille was actually a fabulous cook, and so there's a connection to food as well. And one of Lucille's signature dishes was a cream puff. And so the students that you see on the screen now are actually learning pastry making right now in their class.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And they will be making a cream puff with the vanilla custard and the chocolate glaze in honor of Lucille's contributions, kind of culinarily speaking.
Carver boys experiencing that. Mom's recipe.
Wow,
that's powerful.
So food is a big thing, and Charlotte, talk about the restaurants that are going to be there in that format.
Yeah, because this is also exciting to be able to reach out to the restaurants because again, this all correlates to having a healthy community as folks that are rolling up their sleeves. And we talk about food service, I mean, that is such a labor of love, and there's so many great stories of people that have decided to get into the business for themselves in Muscatine.
We're excited. Last year was the first year to do this, and I actually believe it was Naomi's idea to bring in the restaurants and have them do the signature dishes, but it was phenomenal. So anybody that was able to attend, the food was truly amazing. And on top of it, the way it's served is you can go around the room and you can pick up the signature dishes, but by doing so, you get a chance to mingle with everybody else in the room, and it's just a great deal of fun. So this year we'll have Hy-Vee. Of course, is Tess coming? Will Tess be there?
Actually, Tess is representing.
So Tess is at the Merrill.
Oh, awesome!
Okay.
I think it's Scott. Working today, but
Chef Scott.
Yeah, Brian Scott. He's
we'll be
kind
there.
Of like our stud in the bullpen. I'm trying to say he's a full-time baker here, but he's also a Wad to Beat sous chef.
Yes.
Right, and he just did the Y dinner on Saturday, and he sent me all the pictures, and it looked unbelievable. So Chef will be absolutely representing. There's some great pictures, Ryan, from last year, including a shot of Charlotte in act. I just saw that as I was looking at my notes. I'm like, well, Charlotte likes having fun. That picture of Charlotte.
Just you noticed the sideboards on my plate to make sure I could get plenty of what everybody was serving.
The strategy? You got the right strategy?
I took a pie pan to just make sure it didn't fall off the sides.
So awesome.
And I'll probably be selling those as part of the fundraiser.
It's so awesome.
So you know what? We're going to have Maxwell's from the Merrill's going to be there. Geneva will be there again. Rendezvous. We're going to have Chicaro's, the guy in the grill.
Cool.
Of course, we're going to have the culinary students. And until you get a chance to see the talent and experience the talent, it's just unbelievable. And I think I've hit most of the. I said guy in the grill as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list right here.
We're just going to have a great turnout. A lot of different food available, and as I said last year, it was just a really, really incredible evening, and the food was just over the top.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I mean, this was one of the first events at the Merrill.
It was
the first event. Is that correct?
Actually,
the chamber
came just
event,
after the chamber. But we had to postpone our date last year because of the construction and last minute things.
So an opportunity again to showcase the Merrill and how wonderful that addition has been to downtown.
Right. But they've been great to work with too,
Sure.
because that idea of bringing in area restaurants,
Yep,
you know, you could
absolutely.
easily say no to as
Right.
well if you were the hotel that has its
Right.
own restaurant.
Yeah.
But they've embraced this, you know, this concept that we really want to highlight all of the options in Muscatine. We want to highlight the contributions of the carvers, and so part of the program will be a documentary that we're filming right now.
Cool.
That will show or tell that story of what they contributed and why they're important to Muscatine. Both Roy and Lucille. I think Lucille's story hasn't maybe been told
Sure.
quite as much. She wasn't as outgoing as
Right.
Roy, and you know, didn't have those businesses, but quietly and you know, very securely, she made her mark just as well. And
Yeah.
she continued to contribute to the MCC Foundation through scholarships. And then, you know, it was her job to raise the 4 boys.
Sure.
And they were.
And God bless her.
I was
4
gonna say,
boys.
you got
I'm
3 little
thinking
people
about-
at home right now,
I'm
Tony.
thinking about that, and I'm just like, and I see Roy Jr. here a lot. And he's
Yes.
a character. So
Yes.
I mean, 4 Carver boys
Right.
is no short
Right,
order. I mean,
right, yeah.
that's a lot of work.
So you may have heard that Roy Sr. traveled a lot,
Right,
you know,
yep.
months at end for his businesses. And Lucille staying at home raising those boys allowed him to really live up to his dreams, I think, that he had. And, you know, that's really a gift that she left us as well.
I mean, we talk about these unbelievable people that Muscatine's been fortunate to have. I mean, the Stanleys, the Carvers, the Howes. It's always these, I'm going to say, power couple, and I mean that in the best way, because whether it's the whomever is leading the charge, the significant other has to be there
Yeah.
for the support. And a lot of the times it would be an idea that maybe one of the members of the couple had, and then the other one maybe wasn't all in, but it always bore fruit. I mean, I think about all the great stories about the Stanleys. I know a lot about the Carvers and the things that they were willing to be a part of. Same thing with the Howes. I mean, again, like Charlotte, you said that these are folks that did not have to feel like they had to give back. I mean, if we all, you know, started a business and then watched it grow and had such success, it could be very easily to just sort of be a jet setter, or maybe even to uproot and
Right,
and move,
right.
you know, somewhere
Leave it
where
all
it doesn't get
behind.
50 below zero.
Yeah.
But they decided to stay here and make a difference, and that's what's I think, you know, sometimes we need to be reminded of folks
Yeah.
like the Carvers
Yep.
when we feel like things aren't going that well, or, you know, people say disparaging things. It's like, it's not true. We have so much good going
Absolutely.
on. You just got to be able to shine a light on it.
Yeah.
The $65 ticket and the proceeds from the night are important to help MCC. Any specifics we want to mention about that? Because folks, tickets are still available.
They are, yeah.
But we do expect
they're-
a full house, so
we
I
do,
wouldn't
yeah.
wait.
Right, right,
And you can get them
exactly
online,
right.
which is also nice.
Yes,
So let's
yep.
talk a little bit about where that ticket price is going to go to help students
Yep.
at MCC and future students.
So there are 2 organizations that are sponsoring this event. It's the MCC Foundation, which in the last couple of years has given $325,000 in scholarships a year to our students.
Wow.
And the MCC Alumni Association, which helps students with extracurricular activities. So we may have a group of students who wants to go to the Business and Professionals Association National Conference. They need some assistance with some travel costs. Or our famous choir, or our jazz choir,
Right.
needs, you know, clothing to for their events coming up. So those are the kind of things that the Alumni Association helps with. And so students can make an appeal to them, and they
Sure.
will disperse that money. So last year, our focus was to create a virtual reality lab and renovate one of our science
Sure.
labs. And so both organizations contributed some of the
Awesome.
money of that event towards this. This year, we're actually putting a focus on our Student Emergency Fund.
Okay.
So while MCC and other community colleges are a very affordable option when you're thinking about higher education, there are still lots of barriers that our students experience in this cold weather. You know, the battery doesn't work, right?
Right.
You have a heating bill that you weren't
Sure.
expecting. Daycare has been an issue because of the closing and all of that. So
Yep.
all of those things can lead to a student continue or not continuing in that semester. And so our student emergency fund is there to help with those unexpected emergencies.
It can be so easy to let things, well, I just can't make it to class.
Right.
Right. I mean, unfortunately, that's the reality for people that are doing everything they can.
Right.
To not miss that class or that internship or that opportunity. If they feel like life keeps throwing them curveballs, it can be sometimes easier to just say, forget it.
Yep.
But it's always worth it, right? And that's where, again, being able to support and lift up those students that need the help.
Yeah. Yeah.
It only makes sense. And if you look at it from almost like a financial, like you're investing, right? You're investing in these students now because you know that it'll pay dividends once they are able to get that job that allows them to stay in town, maybe buy a house, send their kids to school if they have kids. I mean, it all works, right? So yes, I love that idea.
Yeah.
I think
so the
that
other
makes
way,
total sense.
The other way we're raising funds in that evening is a silent and live auction, and Charlotte will talk a little bit about that.
You know what? Jamie Schroeder's showing up for the live
awesome.
auction. We all know how much fun Jamie is.
He was an alumnus.
Yeah, he was a hoot last
Yeah.
year. So, and we've got some great things on slate. We've got basketball tickets, and after watching the Iowa game last night and that last second shot, those should go. When Joe, we'll get to see Joe.
The Iowa game was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
We've got an evening at the Merrill, and Tony, I was thinking if you buy that, then we could have an after party after the party in your room.
That's
so
right.
That may be taken. You may need to bid hard against Tony on that.
Yeah. Okay.
On that
Good.
one.
That makes sense.
But we have a whole list. There's a hog of some and processing around that. There's just a whole list of really good. A cool one last year, and I think you're getting that again this year, is a bike. You want to talk about the bike?
Yes.
Oh, there's a pic. There's a pic. Ryan, if you got that, there's a picture of Greg Harper.
Greg Harper
Riding. Please tell me
modeling.
you got this. The Microsoft attachment that I sent you. There's pictures at the bottom. Look for the picture. You can't miss it. It's like an action shot of Greg Harper on a bike that I'm assuming had to be from Harper Cycling and Fitness.
Actually, the bike was donated by my sister.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's a Trek bike, but Harper's role, or Greg's
Look at
role,
that!
was to assemble the bike.
He put it together.
And
Oh my gosh.
Now this year, the bike has gold studs on the seat, and so Greg has agreed to ride it again, but he needs to wear like a motorcycle leather black outfit, and we're still kind of negotiating that piece of it. But so that's a really fun. A fun auction item. I think Jerry Hutchins was the one who ended up with that bike last
You think
year.
about Greg Harper, the first person to ride a bicycle in a brand new $40 million hotel, right? I mean, a lot of firsts at the Merrill last year. I guarantee you there has not been a second person until the 21st with the second Legends event.
Greg
There has
again.
not been another person riding a bicycle on that nice carpeting upstairs. That is such a great shot.
Tony, you can also, because the Y membership's a great one. You run the kids' energy off on the
we were at
weekends
the Y
at that
yesterday,
place, right?
100%.
Yeah.
So there's just so many good things going on, and again, all the dollars flow back to the important programs that MCC does. And I think, and one of the statistics you have too, is over 50% of the kids that are graduating at the high school are attending MCC, and the community leaders that have grown through MCC, and the impact's incredible. And I will say, because I was able to work with Naomi and her crew when I was at MCSA, they give 100% to finding the best way to educate kids, or students, excuse me, because they may be adults, but they lean in the minute there's an opportunity in front of them to maybe provide a program differently or serve differently, because they know what a difference it makes for the student, what a difference it makes for the family, and of course the ripple effect into the next generation when these children, or when the students are educated and what they're able to pass on to their kids as well. So all the dollars that are going to be flowing that night are going to go back and be immediately helping the students and creating a better Muscatine for our future.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is just continue to set ourselves up for success. Last year, I was asked to announce or MC the Muscatine High School Senior Awards Night.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never done that. My kids are young. I'm several years away from being there, but there I sat on the stage, and it was every bit of 2.5 hours. And one of the highlights of the night was Dr. DeWinter. You were there representing MCC, and you gave out, I mean, it was like, I don't know how many scholarships. I almost couldn't believe how many were handed out that night. I mean, that's really a powerful story. My wife went to MCC. I mean, everybody kind of has a connection, but yeah, just sitting there, and I just had gotten an email last week about doing the announcing again this year. Yeah. So I look forward to that, and I know that you'd said to the tune of $325,000. So right, I mean, MCC is truly all in, but then at the same time, you've been able to keep MCC very affordable when that doesn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't appear to be the trend, maybe even regionally, but certainly nationwide. It doesn't seem to be that secondary education is affordable, but I know that's an important thing for you, right?
Well, I think in the news you'll hear a lot about student loan debt and the crises and people, not being able to afford homes and the down payments and things like that. So really the community college is a solution to that crisis.
The community's college, right? I mean, it is truly, and you can look all throughout Muscatine, and sometimes you don't know when you're talking to someone that went to MCC like Charlotte all these years. I had no idea, and just looking through some of the additional photos sent me, I didn't know that our very own Phil Schlesman went to MCC, right? And
incredibly fun. It's just relaxed and with a lot of great people that believe in the work or have experienced the work MCC does, or they hire people that have been educated, and it's just a really relaxed, great evening with a lot of friends, and that's what you're going to find when you arrive.
We can't. There's a certificate for pizza for a year. Are you presenting that to me? Because I'm ready to accept it. It looks like it's from Sal Vitale's.
You can come and you can bid on that.
Okay, yes, I didn't know. It's been sitting here.
This is the one I won last year.
You won that last year?
I won this last year.
Okay.
Yes.
So Dr. DeWinter had the high bid. Do you want to say what it went for?
You can see every month we've made good.
You have gone over
pizza.
there. I had this past Saturday was National Pizza Day, and I had a cauliflower crust pizza.
I was going to say they have the keto free, right?
Yeah.
Tony's
a big, absolutely. They've been able to sell just a couple of those cauliflower crusts, I think. Sam tells me. That's great that you got that.
You and me.
Yeah.
February 21st.
I mean, do you want to just maybe write down what you spent on it, and then I'll kind of look at the sheet? We don't have to say it, but here, let me.
If you guys get this in February, we can have pizza delivered at the after party that night.
Was
it midnight? We can have Sal stay up.
Charlotte's always trying to get So was it around that amount? Would you say?
That sounds familiar.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Good deal. I think I could swing that. Unless my wife's watching. It's for MCC. You went there, dear. We got to keep the kid. I mean, I don't think she's watching. I don't see it on Facebook. All right. And the plan, of course, is to continue the Legends event. Annually.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is. There are plenty of people to honor.
Oh my gosh! I mean, you could. The next 20 years could be booked throughout the course of a meeting. But the thought is, again, to recognize people that are doing good and have done good in Muscatine. Taking on an event like this is no small order. I know there's a lot of people involved on the backside, Phil Schlesman being one of them. Got a great committee and a great group. And for folks that are watching this, February 21st at the Merrill, 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock, MCC Legends event honoring the great Carver family, Roy and Lucille. I don't know if she went by Lucy. That's my daughter's name. I wanted her name to be Lucille, but I conceded to it just being Lucy because then I got middle naming rights. These are the things that happen when you have kids. People don't ever talk about like how you arrive at a kid's name and the concessions you're willing to make. So I love the name Lucille or Lucy. I don't know if Mrs. Carver went by Lucy, but it'll be a great night to honor the Carvers and their lasting legacy. I mean, it's so relevant and prevalent in Muscatine, the work that they're doing. And all you got to do is get a ticket. You can go to eventbrite.com. Winter, Charlotte, this is her first time being on the show, and she has not photoshopped my face on something. I feel like this is a small victory.
Huh? Yeah.
Well, it was just, I didn't want to poorly reflect on MCC today, so I couldn't.
No, but you could offer to teach like a graphic design class, Charlotte.
So don't assume that we don't assume.
No, I never listen.
The
fact that I can't see what goes on behind me, I'm always super nervous. No, it's great. And Debbie on Facebook saying she had a Tony Tone cauliflower pizza at Sal Vitale's. There you go. Debbie, you could get them for a year
That's right.
while supporting MCC. I'm so pumped that you got that, Dr. DeWinter.
Yeah,
Good for you. I was looking at the
So
certificate.
my daughters.
That's so great.
Hey, Tony, I think they need to get their tickets, but invite their friends because
Yes.
they get a table and come and enjoy the evening.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a really, really great evening.
It'll be a lot of fun, and the Merrill is such a wonderful venue,
Yeah.
and to support such a good cause, it makes total sense. So thank you all again. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you, Tony.
Let's go CBI Bank and Trust Aisle Cam, and then we'll get Sam from the pharmacy over here in just a moment. And look, it's Valentine's Day week. I can't believe it. Oh, no. Today is what? February 11th. Valentine's Day is this Thursday. Whew. Are you ready? Are you procrastinating? What I would tell you to do is get your Valentine's Day stuff a day early. And at the Hy-Vee Floral Shop, they even incentivize you if you want to get something delivered on the 13th. They'll give you like a free balloon. Oh, Jeff the Goat's in the cam shot. Look at that. I didn't even notice. I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't look like Candy. That's Jeff the Goat. All right. Good deal. Making a surprise appearance with the Valentine's Day stuff. You can kind of see everything in that shot. Candy, cookies, cupcakes, giant boxes of Russell Stover chocolate, and balloons, because nothing says Valentine's Day like a balloon. Perhaps the singing balloon will be in your future. Cody, you're the best. So there you go, Valentine's Day. I was on the Hy-Vee website yesterday. Even though I do work here, I was on the Hy-Vee website looking at our different options from the floral department, and wow, if you're like me, and I don't know, I mean, anytime I've gotten flowers, I've just been like, I'll take that one. Can you put some more roses in it? And that's kind of how I order flowers. The website is definitely idiot proof. So if you want to not have to worry, go to the website and get it done. Sam Garrettson is pharmacist here at Hy-Vee. Good to see you.
Good morning.
All right, you're someone that's probably going to receive something for Valentine's Day.
I hope so.
We hope. Hint. You like flowers? You good with flowers? Some women I've heard say to me, no flowers. What's the point? They only hang around for a couple of days. What's your stance on flowers, Sam?
Probably that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty.
Yeah,
But usually
but-
we just like go out to dinner
Okay.
or something more like a night out without the kids.
So, right, without the kids, that's the magic
Yeah.
phrase. My wife is working on Valentine's Day, and she's just sort of like, we'll do something whenever. And I thought, all right, but I feel like for any guy that thinks, well, I don't have to do anything, it's a Hallmark holiday, that's just, you're setting yourself up for disaster, right? Get
That's fair.
something at least. There's been years when my wife has just been like, I don't really want flowers, I just want something from like the bakery. I'm like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Right? Get a big old Valentine's Day cake. Why not? Sure. All right, so at the pharmacy, there's a couple things going on. The new generic program, when we talk about prescriptions, the insurance game, the insurance business confuses me already. I'm fortunate that I don't have to take scripts monthly. There's a lot of people that are navigating the insurance world and relying on places like Hy-Vee for scripts each and every month. The generic options are a way for them to save money, and some of the generics are as low as $4 to fill a script. So first of all, just talk about the difference between the name brand and the generic scripts, because it almost seems like, Sam, for every script that you might be prescribed, there might be a generic option out there, right?
For most prescriptions, there is a generic option. Unless it's a newer drug, then it's still just brand name. So
Okay.
most of the time, they have to be equivalent for them to be called a generic. So 9 times out of 10, the generic is going to be just fine. It's going to work just as good as what the brand name would. So usually that's always our go-to, especially for cost savings, to go to generic first.
And if we keep that on the screen, we're looking at different options, right? This is brand new for Hy-Vee in the pharmacies. They just rolled out this list, and I like how it breaks it down. So for folks that need allergy, asthma, cold and flu medicine, you can see some of the options. And the fact that it works just the same as the name brand, right? I mean, I think there's sometimes people just need to be reassured that you're saving money, but you're not sacrificing anything, right?
Right. So this list is great. Basically, it's an extended version kind of to help everyone, even if you have insurance. Sometimes it is more expensive, especially the beginning of the year if you have a deductible to meet, that sort of thing. So If you haven't met that yet, this is a great option if you need it to help with cost savings, if you don't really get a lot of stuff or you're just sick once in a while.
Right.
It's got all sorts of stuff on here. A lot of people, blood pressure is an issue. That's a huge one. That list is a lot bigger than before. Mental health, antibiotics are big. Even women's and men's health are both on here too. So
Right.
that's a new change. Birth control's on here, some GI, diabetes, so all sorts of stuff, skin conditions. It's all on there just to help save you money.
Amoxicillin, right? We're still in the season of crud, if you'll have it. It seems like
Lots of crud.
amoxicillin is sort of like that. Now, I say this, and my 4-year-old is allergic to amoxicillin, which is crazy because I don't want to say I take amoxicillin for everything, but certainly whenever I get diagnosed with like strep throat or whatever, it's always amoxicillin. That's just something that I didn't know that there was a generic form of amoxicillin, but there it was right on the list, and it's available at a reasonable price. So saving people money at the pharmacy, again, it's maybe not something that is thought of, right? You might not think about, because I think for a lot of folks, they just don't know. They go to their doctor. Here's how it works. Like, you're not feeling well, you go to your doctor, they kind of figure out what's going on, and then they say, all right, we're going to send your prescription to Hy-Vee, and they come and get it, and that's where that additional education comes from, right? And that's where your job can be tough, I think, because a lot of times people are showing up and they're just like, oh, I need to pick up my script. And you want them to know what they're taking, especially if it's the first time. So it's not like you're never trying to inconvenience anyone by sort of letting them know, like, take this with food, don't take this on an empty stomach. But that's got to be a challenging part of the job, right? I mean, because people are oftentimes not feeling their best, but you have a job to do to inform them on what they're going to be taking.
When you've done it long enough, you kind of know, hit the high point.
Hy-Vee does such a good job, and I've talked about it on the show, and my discovery, it's been a revelation being able to refill scripts with the Hy-Vee app. Oh my gosh, you scan the bottle and that's it. I legit could not believe how easy it was. I was refilling a script for my son, grabbed the bottle, scanned it, and that was it. It's easy. It was just so nice. And then, of course, double lane drive-through also helps. And now an opportunity for y'all to save money. Can we go to that list again? Ryan, there's a second page to that Sam was mentioning. I want to look at some of those options that are available as well. Again, we're talking with Sam Garrettson from the Hy-Vee Pharmacy. She's a pharmacist here. You talk about things like generics available for diabetes, gastrointestinal, the men's health stuff, glaucoma is on there, and the skin conditions. Right. So I imagine that the name brand version of most of these would be very expensive, right?
A big one, like for men's health, so this is actually the generic Viagra, and that's actually on the list. That one just went generic pretty recently, and so the fact that it's on the list is pretty good because it's really gone down in price a lot, so that it's available.
I was going to say, so if you think about that, the generic version of Viagra, $25 for 4 pills. I can't even imagine what the name brand
before was like $50 to $100, depending on which one you got per pill. So.
Right, per pill?
It was pretty expensive.
Whoa,
so
that is expensive.
Gone down a lot. So.
That's way better. And then like skin conditions, hydrocortisone, one of those things that maybe there's a lot of us out there. I can tell you at least half a dozen times taking kids to the doctor, it's been hydrocortisone. And you're like, how can that stuff cost? You know what I mean? That's often the reaction, right? You're like, how is that a thing? And Hy-Vee identified a way to help save people some money. And to get this, I mean, this is a giant list of available generic options. 2 pages worth. So for somebody that's watching this that is filling a script each month, is it just a matter of like when something goes generic, so there's the name brand and then the generic becomes available, do you let them know, or do they need to ask like, hey, is this available in a generic form yet? Maybe they've been kind of keeping an eye on it.
So usually the doctor, when they send it over to us, unless they specify and say it has to be a brand name, then we'll fill it as generic every time. So unless you want it to be brand name and pay the extra expense, we always go to generic and fill
It's sort of like the same thing with the Top Care branded stuff that Hy-Vee carries, right? Like if you're going to get like a pain and fever med, why pay more if you can't tell the difference kind of deal. So that as much as it's going on at the pharmacy, and I love that, by the way. That's a great graphic. That's our cover photo for the Hy-Vee Facebook page, because this is a big deal when you can save people money. And you're right. I'll tell you this, if you're going to have another kid, you should try and have knee surgery in the same year, because then you hit your deductible and then you have a free baby. I can't tell you, Sam, how excited. The first kid to be truly free. Thank you, knee surgery. Thanks, 14-year-old driver that caused my car accident. No, but I mean, insurance is tough. I mean, what I like about with the Wellmark insurance that we have is there's an app, so I could kind of watch. And as soon as I had that knee surgery, it was like deductible hit, and I thought, we might have a free baby here. But that's just it, right? Like, there could be some sticker shock with insurance rolling over. And if you do have to, and even with my family, and this with kids, like, they're always at the doctor. I mean, sometimes more than others, but we're in that cold and flu season. So I went with like the lowest, deductible plan I could, because I figured we'd be in and out so much, especially with a baby, and they got to get shots and all that stuff. It's not fun. But that's just it, right? Like, if you're getting a little bit of sticker shock, it's worth having a conversation. It's your life and your money, ultimately, right? So if there's ways to kind of save yourself, you should talk to someone like Sam or Nicole or whomever is over there and ask about the generic, because 2 pages of options are now available for y'all. Shingle shots.
Yes.
We had an abundance of the Shingrix, the shingles vaccine. It's a 2-stage
two-shot series.
2-shot series. You said it, Sam. You know me. For folks that came and got the first one, and it's probably time, and I know we're doing a good job of calling them, they need to get the second one. What's that amount of time in between the first shot and the second one?
So 2 to 6 months.
Okay.
Day 1, you get the first one. 2 to 6 months later, you get the second. So usually we do keep a list. We call you at 2 months. 3 months, 4 months,
sure,
to come in and get that second one. But you have up to 6 months from day 1, which would be the first shot, to get the second one. So.
And for everybody that's watching, again, shingles, the Shingrix vaccine is like, what,
90s is what they're saying.
96% effective against shingles. You can have some serious nerve pain. We have some coworkers here that have dealt with shingles, and it's terrible. It just sounds awful. So if you're 50 years or older, get the shot. If you are still covered by like a work insurance, it's
most of them are free.
Most of them are free.
Yeah.
So think about that, because it is a great savings. And maybe you haven't got your first one, and now it's the time to come and get the first one, and then put a little reminder in your phone or whatever. That's like that you get older and you're like, what's that reminder for? Oh, it's to go get another shot. Awesome.
And some of the plans have been better this year too.
Good.
With the new year. Cost-wise as well for the people that are on Medicare to get a better copay too.
Well, listen, that's just it, right? It's all about being preventative, and if you can prevent yourself from getting something like shingles, you should, because it sounds terrible. Like,
correct.
I never want to, my mom got the Shingrix shot, and again, if you're watching and you're thinking, getting a shot at Hy-Vee, where do you do it? There is an office in the pharmacy. It's not like you're getting it over the counter. I mean, there's a very nice space available for it. And the Shingrix one is just one of many that we're able to offer. And I think, if anything, the best part about getting the Shingrix here, Sam, is you can just walk in. You don't have to have an appointment. There's always a pharmacist on staff that can give that right?
All you take is
if you're like, I got to get that Shingrix shot, well, I've got a 45 or a 60-minute lunch break. You could get that done, no problem.
Yep. And biggest side effect for a lot of people is just a sore arm. A lot of people have no issues, sore arm.
Yeah.
Maybe a handful feel kind of under the weather for like a day. But what's a day for not having nerve pain for your life?
Right. And y'all are so good somehow at these shots that most folks don't even need a Band-Aid, which I learned when Nicole gave me my flu shot. I didn't even feel it. I mean, that's when you know you're good. I mean, that's one of the many reasons why I'm not a pharmacist. I don't know if I could give people shots, plus all the schooling that you had to do. That's another part of it. But you've just done it so much, right? It's no biggie.
We've done a lot.
Now, does that mean that like your kids are better? Like, you're not giving your kids their shots; they're going to go to the doctor for that. But like, when you're taking your kids to get shots, are you sort of like, here, let me take over for you. I can do that. No,
I usually let them, but our office did run out for Abby's 6 months, and it's a 2-shot series for the flu shot for the first time. So I did have to give my own child a flu shot. The
worst was when my 4- and 6-year-old were just so mad about getting the flu shot, and then my 4-year-old said, "You lied to me." And you're just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you have kids that willingly take medicine or get shots, God bless. Buy whatever. But for the parents that are holding down the kid to get the flu shot, it is stressful. My oldest is just so reluctant to take anything. We've got to just, I can tell you how many different juice, amoxicillin mixes or whatever it's been, and I just pray to God one day he's just like,
Sure.
Oh, but in the meanwhile, I mean, there was one night he had the ear infection, wouldn't take the meds, and the fever kept spiking, and it was like, dude, you're going to go to the hospital. And we got to the hospital, and I'm like, dude, they're going to give you a shot in your leg because you won't take a sip of medicine. And guess what he got? The shot in his leg. Turns out it knocked whatever out of him in like an hour, and we were home.
Well,
but,
that's good.
if you ever write a book on making it easier to get kids to take medicine, please let me know, because it is stressful. All right, a couple things to remember. Generics as low as $4. There is a 2-page list available. Ask the team here at Hy-Vee Pharmacy next time you're here, and if you find yourself needing the second or first Shingrix shot, you can get that done. We're kind of, like at this point, Sam, it's February 11th. Are people still getting a flu shot, or are we outside of the flu?
Here and there. We still have a couple stragglers in and out, but usually like the fall is a little bit better.
And when I got my flu shot on this show, one of the comments that someone made was, it's too early. And I responded to that person like, are you a doctor? And they were offended by that. But it's like, and there it was right there, a little action shot. I'm like, how do you know it's too early? Right? I mean, what is the flu? Like, hey, it's me, the flu. I'm not going to show up until December. No, the flu doesn't discriminate on when it arrives. So I would just assume get it out of the way, right, sooner than later. So, and the thing about the flu shot is they're constantly working to improve it for each year so that it can kind of combat the different strains or strands of flu.
Yes.
So gross to think about all of that. All right. Well, I tell you what, I feel good. I get sick once or twice a year, knock on the desk here at the show, and when that happens, I find myself just needing to get like some type of Sudafed because I always get congested, and then I